Hey guys, George here from GFW Trains. We talk about everything, mostly trains. Today we got another pop-up live stream, although this one's kind of been more like official than the last one. The last one was kind of like really, really short, and um, but yeah. Oh, I forgot to turn on trains. That's a problem. Um, but yeah. So hopefully this one's a little more official. Oh, and look at that, Angel Garcia. Hello, Angel.
Hey guys, I'm gonna rejoin real quick because the audio is very bad.
All right, yeah. We'll see you then. Okay.
Let me turn something off. I have the live stream playing out in the other room, and it sounds so weird.
Oh, dang, yeah, that's gotta suck. All right. But yeah, let me turn trains on real quick. Let me know if there's something you want me to run. We have basically the same things I had set up for the last stream. So I got the big boy and the 844. So let me know. Oh, and look at that. Tim, how is it going?
Oh, just fine over here.
Were you playing Mechanic Simulator before this?
No.
Alrighty.
Laying in bed and dozed off, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get up.
Well, anyways, looks like we got quite a few people on right now. Not too many, but we got first person on the stream was Conrail8098. Welcome to the stream. Second person, Trainstorm Pure Marquette Productions. Same person. Third person, Grandma Anita.
Hi, Grandma Anita.
Felix the Rail Fanner and Plane Spotter. Welcome. Let's get the big ones. Some of these. Good person, Anfield Road layout in the law. Putting the steam on, but anyway, wait, hold up. But yeah, all right, let's go through. We got Mike from Crossed Anchors. Let's see, Crazy Joe 67. Welcome to the stream. Randall Ellison. Alright, let's see. This is a lot less smooth without my dad. Mr. Pictovid, welcome to the stream. Oh boy. Didn't want to drop the remote because that would be a pain to grab on the floor. Let's see what else. Oh, we got this weird guy named GFW Trains. K&J Model Trains. Grandpa George, or otherwise known as OG George. Oh boy. Uh-oh, I lost it. Oh, D. Klinger Railroad Productions. Ben's Trains. Oh, shoot. That's not good. Anyways, hold on. Shoot. Yeah, I just had an accident with the big boy. Not too good. See how... Oh, whoops. This isn't smooth for my dad. Alright, anyways. We're back. Back. Ken Munoz. There we go. Alright. Burnsy's O-Scale Model Trains. Welcome to the stream. And then Matt's Collections and Things. Welcome to the stream. Uh-oh. Alright, I'm gonna botch this very, very, this is gonna be so wrong. Oh, look at that. Behind me, the big boy is pushing the rest of its train. Anyway, I'm gonna stop that real quick before something bad happens. All right, so David Shat it. And yeah, I think that's about it. Unless anybody new joined. Nope. All right, yeah, bar full of trains over the stream. So, anyways. So, the things that are going wrong currently, actually, I'm gonna let's see how this goes. I'm gonna run the big boy back. Oh, yeah, nope, that didn't work. So anyways, yeah, other than that, let me know if you guys want me to run something different. I know this is the same stuff we've been running for like the past 3 or 4 streams. So, yeah, other than that, Sid, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I've just been honestly today just relaxing. This is like my do nothing day, but I've been working. If we're talking about trains, there's 2 things that I'm working hard on right now. First of all, my layout itself. If I move my computer. My table used to be just bare MDF, but now I have the Homosote on the table, and it's all been cut for the measurements. You can just see, looks really good, and it's coming along. Soon I'll have a layout update. And actually, let me grab something I worked on yesterday in the freezing cold. Obviously, probably not as cold as Illinois and probably many other places, but it was pretty cold here. Grab this section of track. So I have fast track. It's fine. I like using it, but some of it I've had for years, and it just gets dirty. So I finally went outside with soap, water, alcohol, and a track eraser, and I cleaned all my track. I scrubbed all the road beds so it's nice and clean. And as you can see, the light is just reflecting off the rails that are nice and shiny now. This is all my 30-inch sections that I cleaned. I haven't cleaned my curves or switches. The switches will be a little harder to clean as they have electronics in them, so I'll have to just be a little more careful with them when I'm cleaning them. But yeah, I was working on that, and the Homosote, as I said, it's all cut. It's going to be attached to the table more permanently. Fill in all the gaps, and then paint it. I'm going to paint it actually a similar tan color to what it is, but just give it more of a uniform look all throughout. And from there, it's just laying track, wiring, doing the elevated section, which I've talked about a couple times on my channel. And I'm just excited to actually run trains on something more than a 072 loop on my table that is extremely dirty. But
Boring.
yeah, that's kind of that. And then the other thing is I'm working on an upgrade for my personal collection. It's a Lionel Commodore Vanderbilt, my first one that kind of doesn't have a good paint job anymore. It had a reaction when I was cleaning it one time, and it just doesn't look very good anymore. So I'm giving it the whole 9 yards plus another 9 yards. So basically, it's going to be the ultimate Commodore Vanderbilt. Everything someone wants the Lionel to do. So yeah, I see someone saying, "Sid, are you going to use fast track for the whole layout?" With me, I'm not going to be in my house I'm going to be here for the next 4 years at least, so I can build up the layout. But I've invested so much in fast track at this point to not that I just need to go with it and enjoy it. And I have no issues with it. It looks really good. I like the way it looks. It has some quirks to it, but you can work around those. And a future layout of mine will have Ross and likely Gargraves similar to what you have. But yeah, I am using all fast track for my layout. So yeah, just normal me working on trains and then finally getting my layout going here. Having fun doing it.
Well, that's cool, Sid. I know that you've been working real hard on that, and is Homosote, when you cut it, doesn't that get like everywhere, or is that? And I think it's something else.
No, you are correct. If you use a circular saw or any kind of power saw with it, it gets all over the place. We're cutting it similar to how you would cut drywall by just using a straight edge and a utility knife, and it's clean. The cuts are a little cleaner, and you can just not make as much of a mess. And yeah, something related to the layout that I've talked about before, as well as my turntable. I'm going to be custom building one, and my dad and I are thinking we might get a welder we know to weld me a turntable well out of either aluminum or steel, instead of me having to buy a Millhouse River Studios or a Ross turntable. It's a lot of money to spend on a turntable. I'd rather just make it myself and have it still be really nice.
Yeah, because those are kind of like they're really expensive, and you don't really ever know if they're gonna work, right? You know?
Yeah, they're really expensive. The range is from like $700 to like close to $2,000, I believe. Tim might know a little more on the pricing, but they're really expensive, and in some cases you might get one and it just won't work for your setup because it's either the wrong size or you can't put it under your table. But if I build one to my specifications, then I know it will work.
Yeah, I think that will hope. Fingers crossed. You know, those turntables are really, really cool. But yeah, those are kind of 50-50 thing, but I'm sure you'll be able to get that to work as well. And Tim, I know you've been working on the layout as well. I know it's not currently like being built, but I know you're working on the track plans and stuff for that. You want to talk a little bit about it?
I highly don't recommend planning a layout.
Yeah.
Plan it for you. Anyway, no. Yeah, I'm like having a. Basically, I've just been screwing around building, or I should say, planning layouts. Because why not? Because I'm at that point where I haven't had a layout in probably about the last 15 years.
Oh yeah.
So I want to. We've been talking about doing one, my dad and I, for a while, where we're at, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it now and get it done. So I've been, like as George has said, and I said, I've been planning the layout. I mean, there's some stuff that I already have done on it that I like, and there's some stuff that I keep changing because I kind of, I want the layout to be where I can, photograph it, like, certain spots of the layout where I can take video and some stuff like that and pictures. But then I also want that mix of where, okay, I can go ahead and I can do like maybe some switching or whatever. That's kind of the hard part, and especially when you're limited to like
Spice.
yeah, like an 8 by 16 foot space, and yeah, it's not as easy as what the average person thinks. And that's why for me, it's like I need a whole building for myself, and then I can do the layout how I want to do it. But yeah,
Yeah, I know layouts are like really, really hard, like because everybody wants them to look nice, but then, I mean, a lot of people want to be able to operate on them, and it's kind of hard to get. I mean, because if I were to design a layout, it probably would look like a piece of plywood with just a bunch of tracks going everywhere and no like scenic part to it. I think my dad's been trying to like. We've both been trying to limit ourselves on like where everything goes. I know that. I mean, originally it was just going to be the two loops, the double crossover, and then the reversing loop, and it's kind of gradually like gone out from that, if you know what I mean. I know Tim's seen the original track plan, but yeah, we've got yards, some sidings, past the big old station. I mean, it's definitely kind of hard to limit yourself on where to keep everything confined. But yeah, I know that when you're making a layout, I mean, that's probably got to be one of the most important parts of making it look nice. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because it's going to be something you want to show off, if that makes sense, and that you're proud of. But yeah. So I saw a chat earlier, or a question in the chat. Did you guys get any cool trains for Christmas or trains?
I have one item here. That's what I actually want to just grab. If you, at least in my case, if you want to know about the stuff I got, I have a video that I put up on my channel, Sid's Trains. But something I didn't show in that video, where I got a really cool Western Maryland 734 T-shirt with it at the station, which was really cool. And then I got this. This is a brass Chesapeake and Ohio steel-sided caboose.
Oh, yes, it's right away.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it.
Yeah, and it looks really good. For like I've said before, items that are heavy, it just makes it that much better. And the brass in the painting looks really good, and it goes well with my right-of-way Allegheny. And if you don't know, I live in Maryland, so Chesapeake and Ohio works well for me. So yeah, that's kind of the one really cool item I got. And then I got a bunch of freight cars, some box cars and stuff. And yeah, all that's on my channel if you want to see the stuff I got.
Cool. Everybody go check that out. Tim, did you get anything cool for Christmas?
Does it count if I bought it for myself?
Sure thing.
Yeah, I got a couple of pieces. All the pieces that I bought were all HO.
You've gone to the dark side, I see.
I thought the dark side was me going to 2-rail.
Oh,
Rich
yeah,
Batista.
No, dude, I will stop talking to you if you go too real. HO is kind of going there, but I do like HO a lot.
Hey, it's half the size and twice the fun. What can I tell you? What can I say?
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, so is there a video coming out on those, or do you want to just tell us that, or what you got?
I guess I can go grab a couple of them.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, while he does that, I'm gonna explain what I got for Christmas. I got 3 more cars to my Pacific Fruit Express train. I got 2 MTH wood-sided reefers, which I'm kind of excited about because they're definitely different than everything else I have. So it's kind of a bit of a scenic change, if that makes sense, on the PFE train. And then I got another Lionel steel-sided reefer, which will go good with my Vision Line ones. Other than that, I got a really cool Lego train set, the Disney one that came out a couple of years ago. It was something I kind of been wanting for a while, so it's cool to get. Yeah, that kind of wraps up everything I got. I know my cousin Sam, he got this really cool engine. He's been dying for a TMCC steam engine for a very long time, and so actually a really good friend of ours, Stephen Cofrell, sent him a Lionel TMCC Berkshire, so you know Berkshire, and for Christmas he got that and the 844 stuff. Let me see if I can speed that up.
What? I'm just curious. What was it? A junior Burke or was it a full scale Burke?
No, it was a scale Berk. It was similar to the one we have, but
it was $26.99, the TMCC version. That's really cool.
I love the width on that one. So, Steven, if you're watching, thank you very much for that. It was super generous. And Sammy likes it a lot. I'm going over to his house tomorrow, so I'm going to get some video of that running for you. I got, yeah, I think from what it seems like, he really likes it. So, other than that, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think he was really excited about that.
If any of you haven't checked out Steve's channel, go search him up on YouTube. He has a really cool layout. Both his layouts are really cool.
Yeah,
and the scale layout, and it's just amazing stuff.
He finished the post-war one, correct?
Yeah, he got it all set up. I think he even did some snow effects on the top, which was really cool. I've done work with him. I've sold him a couple of things, and he's a very generous person. He likes helping people out in the community.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about Steven. He's a really nice guy, into trains. I mean, what else can you ask for him, all right?
Yeah.
But, I think, here he comes back. Ooh, is that an Athearn box? I see. Here he comes. Let's see what he's got. Tim. He's, well, so then if T-Rail's the dark side, what would be HO? Like, I don't know, the Rebel Alliance? Like, they're not Jedis, but they're not, like, you know, they're not Jedis. Oh, boy. Here he comes. Oh, he's putting his headphones back on. He's about ready to say something. He has no clue what we're saying. Now he does, and he's smiling.
Sorry, there's something funny on my phone right now that I probably got to respond to, so.
Oh boy.
Continue.
Ghost Ninja says I have an MTH beer steel reefer from 2010, George. I think I have the one you were showing. Let me go grab it.
I saw Ghost, or you said something before about getting another something to do with the Century Club. I have to go back through the chat to see, but I like anything Century Club, so that's cool. Let me go look at the chat so I can see what you were talking about.
But yeah, he actually got he got that K-Line 5344 we were talking about on the stream the other day.
Oh yeah.
Ghost Ninja, that is an amazing engine. It's got to be one of my favorite engines. You just got to be careful with it because the electronics are really, really fragile.
Yeah.
In that engine, but hey, if it goes kaput, Sid would be happy to fix it for you.
Fun, fun fact: that thing is coming to me at some point. We've already talked about some changing the sounds up a little and
Oh boy.
doing some other work. But yeah, anybody, if anything ever goes kaput on you, I'm your guy. I got my email. People always ask me where to contact me. My email is on my channel in the about page if you're ever interested. But George, you can continue.
But yeah, I have a question for you, Sid. Do you have any idea? Because I'm not sure if you know, but my 5344, that the electric coupler on the back always it always opens up at random moments while I'm running it. Do you have any idea why that is?
Does it happen a lot when it's on a switch?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's just like randomly while it's running. Like I'll run it and the load will just like.
Yeah, there's two things. The couplers can be weak and they'll just open. But another thing is, I had an issue where when power is, I don't know how to call it, but it's when power is going in and out of the engine. The sometimes the boards on the inside don't like that, and it activates what's called a triac inside the engine, and it throws the coupler. Like my Empire State Express Hudson over on the wall here used to do that. And something I did to fix it was just clean the pickup rollers a lot to get them nice and shiny, and it creates better conductivity with the track, and there's just less issues with that. But yeah, it's usually either a weak coupler or just something to do with the electricity in the engine.
Alrighty, I'll have to look into that because I know that. I mean, that's one of my favorite engines, and it's kind of a bummer, just like because I mean, it's kind of weird running an engine without a load. It's like driving half a car.
Yeah.
But yeah. So Tim, let's see what you got going on here.
All right, I guess I can start with the less good stuff first.
Oh boy.
I bought an AccuRail. I bought 3 AccuRail freight car kits.
Cool. That's cool.
I bought a stock car, a hopper, and I bought this reefer.
Oh, that's cool.
So I bought this. Let's see. I love how George wanted to see it and he disappeared. It's a disappearing act, everybody with him. Then I got this Aftern Western Pacific hopper.
That's cool.
So in April, the hell?
I don't know. It's echoing. I hear it, so I don't think it's me.
I hear it too.
It must be something on George's end. Well, it just stopped. So,
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah. Keep talking.
So in HL, I model modern day UP, and then I model Santa Fe. So those are what I model. I model Santa Fe, and then I model modern day UP. With the modern UP stuff, I can throw in some stuff like some CP, some Canadian Pacific, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do.
That's
I do have plans. I did see Athern's newest announcements for January for January 2021. I did see their announcements, and I'm kind of intrigued by what they're doing for Canadian National. So we'll see. I may get one of the engines out of the announcement. We don't know.
That's cool.
If any of the HO guys out there can guess which one I'm thinking about, congratulations. Good for you.
I see. There we go.
Next piece that I got, got an Atlas 50-foot boxcar, cotton belt.
Mhm.
Kind of, it breaks up. Even though it's brown, it breaks up a little bit because there's some like color and some, good, interesting graphics and stuff on it. So last, I got an Atlas RSD 4/5, and
Sorry. Oh boy.
I don't know who's echoing because I can hear it. So I don't.
Hold on. I'm gonna leave. Continue talking.
Okay.
yeah, and this is the engine that I picked up.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
that's
kind of
cool.
wanted I basically wanted something to do like just haul like a transfer freight,
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it must. Oh wait, now it started again.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, there it goes again. Okay. So I was going to say, I think I have a diesel just like that in O scale. It's in a box under my table. I saw it the other day, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
I sometimes it sounds weird, but I sometimes wish I could be in HO scale just because of the variety. I like the size of O scale and just the quality of it, but there's a lot of variety in O scale that you just can't get, or in HO scale that you just can't get in O scale.
That's kind of the thing where I'm at. It seems like now going towards the Santa Fe end of this.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like modeling the pre blue and yellow war bonnet era. So that's like we're talking after 1972 to merger days, pretty much. And I'm not a. I don't. I mean, it looks cool, the blue and yellow war bonnet, but to me, I mean, I like the. I should say, I dig the old 1960 to 1972 paint scheme, which is basically what they call the billboard and scheme with the all blue and yellow ends and yellow lettering. That's what I model. And not a lot of manufacturers have done engines like that. I mean, okay, there's F units, but nobody's done like, you know, um, like SD45s and GP30s and O gauge that are painted in that scheme. Everything that they've done has been all blue and yellow war bonnet, which is fine, but it's like, well, okay. I mean, the only manufacturer to do something, you know, in the billboard scheme was Atlas, and those are SD40s, but, good luck trying to find those.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why with HO, I kind of like doing, that realm stuff where it's like, okay, I can get stuff that I want. There's a variety.
Oh lord.
George, if you go into audio in StreamYard, there's an echo cancellation. Make sure that's on.
It's on.
Okay. Maybe put earbuds. I don't know.
It's any better?
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully that fixed it.
Okay. But yeah, you were saying something, Tim, or George was about to say something.
George was about to say something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're right, Tim, on that. But I mean, it's kind of just like the limited, like, not as many people are making O scale trains. I think as of 2020, there's like one major manufacturer and then a couple that are like in and out of it. I think And that's the other thing, cool part about HO scale. I mean, it's the most popular it's the most popular gauge of model trains.
Right.
And there's like, you know, more manufacturers in HO scale than I can count on my fingers. And if that, I mean, that says a lot, you know, because I think in O gauge, I can count probably all the manufacturers on one hand, which is kind of sad. But I mean, it is what it is, you know. It's not like, I mean, all we can really say is buy more trains, but really, I mean, it's not really something that is
Right.
um is, I guess, something we can just go out and do. You know, it's not
Yeah.
really the cheapest thing, but I think that's the other part about HO scale. I mean, you're able to. There's a huge variety of stuff, and even stuff that you might not even know about. You know, and I think that that's the cool part about HO scale. O scale, I mean, it's pretty. A lot of people have the same stuff, but I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there aren't as many people that are into it. Where it's I guess some stuff is generic and then other stuff is kind of cool. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
It was funny. During work, the one day when I was in the process of putting up some brass HO stuff up on the store's eBay on Chicagoland Hobbies eBay site. I use BrassTrack.com as a kind of just like as a research thing to see specifically when the certain model was built and everything and whatever. Um, it was funny. I was on their website and I never do this. I forget who it was. Um, I think it was Nickel Plate Products, which is a brass manufacturer or importer, I should say. And they, I believe, came out with or imported a Boston and Albany Lima A1 Burke. And it's when I saw it, I'm like, wow, they actually did this. Like, And it's funny. It's like, yeah, we have those in O gauge too. And then somebody else I saw ended up doing the New York Central / PNLE A2A Berkshire in HO, and I'm like, wow, I think that was Alco Models who did that one. I'm like, wow, interesting. There's always gonna, that's like, okay, well, there's a lot of models. I guess I would say that it is safe to assume that like that we see in O gauge. It's safe to assume that it has been done before in another scale.
Yeah.
And nobody knows about it until you do the research. That's one of the things where doing the research helps out with stuff.
Yeah, I think but you're right on that, Tim. And Randall Ellison says it's possible to buy O-scale trains dirt cheap. You just gotta know where to look and have luck on your side. I mean, if you go to train shows, you can find some of the best deals on O-scale trains, especially at York. That's kind of the biggest train show in the United States, and it's mainly an O-scale train show. I've never been there. From what I've heard, it is. Tim can probably. Sid can probably.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, the show's mainly O gauge. There's of course standard gauge because when there's O gauge, there's going to be Lionel, and Lionel is standard gauge. Then there's a bunch. There's always a, I say in each hauler is that one guy that just has a bunch of old American Flyer stuff, which is really cool. But yeah, it's mainly O scale, and yeah, that's where I've found some of the best deals. Yeah, a majority of my higher end stuff came from York, like my Daylight Passenger set and my Crusader. Those two are favorites on my channel, and you can find a lot of stuff at York, especially things you might not find at a train store or on eBay.
Yeah, and to go back to that, I think that I mean you can find a lot of cool stuff for cheap, or O scale stuff for cheap, but I mean, when you do that, it doesn't really help the manufacturers, if that makes sense. I mean, because when you're doing that, somebody paid full price for it, but you're receiving that product, which would prevent you from getting something at their cost. And I know I am not really one to, like, I guess, preach that per se, because I am probably, if I did, I'd be the biggest hypocrite in the world. um, but yeah, I think it's just one of those things where it's, I mean, you just gotta support it as much as you can. I think, but other than that, I think that, but yeah, I mean, it's possible to find any kind of trains for dirt cheap, and that's what the beauty of those train shows. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to a point where we're able to go back to events like that. Because although it's kind of helping my wallet right now, I normally around those times I'd have no money, but right now I don't know. I think if we go back, I'm gonna come out with a huge haul. um, but yeah, I think Tim, do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Yeah, I have one little thing to add. So something people might forget is you don't have to order like a brand new engine from the catalog every time. You could go on there and just order a batch of track or something, or like a couple of years ago, I ordered the defect detector for Fast Track, and that's supporting Lionel because it's a pre-order and I'm buying it brand new. You don't always have to buy a brand new train, but I've never ordered something brand new from Lionel engine-wise. I think that might be changing soon. I'm waiting for the catalog this coming in January, and depending on what's in the catalog, I might buy some stuff. But yeah, you don't have to buy those 1,000 Strasbourg, CNO, whatever it is in the new catalog. But you don't have to buy a $1,000 engine. You can buy a $40 car or a $50 worth of track. It doesn't have to be that large item to support the business. It's like, yeah, it's good to support them, but you don't always have to go full bore.
Yeah, I think I mean, you bring a valid point to that. I think that I mean, going along with you, I've never ordered anything from Lionel or MTH brand new, and I think that's just something where we find a bunch of really cool trains at really good prices, and I think that, I mean, there wouldn't be really any need to, but I think that goes along with what's killing all these manufacturers is everybody's buying these secondhand trains, and when these new trains come out, nobody's really buying. I mean, really supporting what they need to sustain. I mean, I'm not 100% sure on why. I don't think anybody is on why MTH, went kaput, but I think that's got to be some part of the reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's part of the reason. That story is all crazy, but yeah, people not supporting it is not going to help the industry at all. Obviously, if you're, I don't know, all of us are fairly young in the scheme of this hobby. The average age is a lot older than us, but there's going to be people ahead of us buying the newer stuff. But if every once in a while the younger people can so-called chip in, then the business will keep booming, and we'll be getting things that we like, and the companies will stay alive. Luckily, Lionel is owned by an investment group, so they kind of have a lot of money behind them. But yeah, you got to keep supporting them, and the more you support them, it's very likely the more that they will make products that you like. Probably the product that I think a vast majority of at least younger people want from Lionel is scale Strasbourg stuff. If you create a fan base and start pushing things, they will make things you want, and then you can buy those things and support them, and then it's just a domino effect. Things will keep happening, and the hobby will be as good as it can be. But don't just buy it.
to go along with that too, the reason why you don't find too many like crazy things in O scales because I think that there wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the amount there wouldn't be that big of a group to purchase those products. For example, what Tim was talking about. I mean, I know of that era, but it's not something that I would be, you know,
Yeah.
crazy about seeing in a catalog. And I don't think that's why and I think that's part of the reason why they don't make that those particular things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. In the past, the companies that did that for people, Right of Way Industries, Third Rail still does it, and we had Weaver before, and then there were some other Williams Brass and some other smaller businesses that did that. Those niche items and things that people really wanted, but they didn't need to make a ton of. But Lionel can't just produce 100 of one item because that costs them a lot of money in most cases. Because if someone wants an engine like the train Tim likes, an A2 Burke, that's not something they can just pull off the wall and paint up in whatever scheme you want. That's something they have to completely make from scratch.
So sorry to cut you off, Tim, but the other day we got this really, really cool item in the mail. From Stu Rankin from and he is actually on the stream currently right now. His YouTube name is Lionel LLC, but he made this really, really cool box top for us. Not sure if you can see it. But yeah, thank you so much, Stu. This is really, really cool. Man, it's amazing. I love the colors on it too. And on the bottom, yeah, he wrote a little message. But yeah, so thank you very much, Stu. This will definitely be run behind the GFW Trains Mikado. Actually, I might pull that out in a bit. But yeah, thank you very much, and I don't know what to say, man. This is very, very cool. But yeah, continue, Sid.
What was I was saying something about just the making. I was just saying that Lionel can't just produce these very obscure but maybe wanted items because they can't just pull that tooling off the wall. They have to completely make it from scratch. But if you create a big enough base, or if you just find something even in the Lionel lineup, so to speak, that you like, definitely consider getting it. Like, if you want that big ticket item, just save your money, or I'm not telling you how to use your money, but if you want that, just save your money. Don't like if you're into buying freight cars, don't buy a bunch of freight cars. Wait a couple months and then buy that big ticket item that's brand new in the catalog, or if it's a year old, just buy it on the secondhand market. But I'm just saying that you're not going to always get what you want, but just support the business no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. I think that, I mean, although people say it's a dying hobby, I mean, there's still a lot of members in the hobby, and I think it's just one of those things you gotta market it the right way. I think that it's a really cool hobby, and I think it would be something a lot of people would get into. I think it's just not everybody has a chance to enjoy it the way we do per se, or get into it per se.
It's for sure expensive, but what I want some people to understand is it's always been expensive. You can look back at old pre-war sets and use an inflation calculator, and if you inflate that price to what it is today, they're still really expensive. Maybe not quite as much, but it's still really expensive, and there's still quality products that are not as expensive. I'd say a Lionel train set being around $400 is still a chunk of money. But if you get that, you can have that for a couple of years and just slowly build as you get older. Maybe you start getting more money or get a job or whatever. It's something that you can be into. You don't have to have as much stuff as George, me, or Tim. We have a lot of stuff. but you don't have to have as much as we do to be in
So
the hobby.
enjoy it, yeah. I mean, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, and another thing is too, clubs. Get involved in a club. I think that's probably one of the biggest, um, like one of the, in my mind, that's got to be one of the best parts of the hobby per se. Um, just because it's something that you get to bond with people that are in the same, like that have the same interests with you. I think that I mean a lot of clubs do their own train shows. They do these big national conventions, which are amazing. I mean, for example, the Train Collectors Association. They're a great organization for. I mean, they any scale of train, but they do a lot of it is based around the O scale community. But yeah, they put on the York Train show. I think I don't remember what division puts it on. I think
It's the Eastern Division.
yeah, the Eastern Division. So um, yeah, they put that on and they do a really good job. Or from what I've heard, I've never been to it, but I know I heard it's a really good, impressive show. But yeah, I think that even if it's just a small club, I think clubs are kind of just what keep the hobby afloat and what have been keeping the hobby afloat for a while now. I think that they've been promoting it a lot, and I think it's just one thing that, or one reason on why many people are still involved in the hobby per se. But yeah, I think you get involved in clubs. You have, I mean, even getting, I mean, there are clubs for like basically all scales. I think, I mean, N scale. There's the T track stuff, and I think isn't there like N track? Isn't is that that's the original N scale like modular stuff, right, Tim?
Mhm.
Yeah. So and then there's plenty of groups for HO. HO is probably one of the biggest, or that's probably the easiest to find a club for. OCO, there's groups like the LCCA, the Lionel Collectors Club of America, the TCA Train Collectors Association. But yeah, and I'm sure there's a few more. I think there's a couple of more groups that are centralized in different areas. But yeah, I think Sid, do you have any other? Um,
Uh, well, yeah, it's not even just the big clubs. If you have like you said, a local club, usually they'll either have a layout set up or a modular layout that you build a section of the layout and you bring it to different places, or it's like the Detroit three railers or high railers. I forgot what their name really is, but they just go to different people's layouts every week or every month or something, and they just run trains like. One week it'll be some of our favorite Norm Charbonneau's layout. The next week it could be another big YouTuber is JD Stux. It could be his layout, or just a bunch of other people. It uh, just being part of a club exposes you to it more, allows you to enjoy it, and for all you know, might make you want to buy something that you've never seen before, or you've seen before, but just never got as much exposure to.
yeah, I think, but yeah, I think that that's definitely a big part of the hobby, and yeah. So, what else? What other topics should we cover? I think if anybody's got a question in the chat, please ask because I know Tim and Sid are probably some of the most knowledgeable people for. I mean, Tim likes all scales, I know, and Sid likes repairing trains. So I think you got two real good groups coming up on here. Um, but yeah, I know that um, YouTube's kind of helped grow the hobby some too as well. I think it's one of the biggest forms of social media, and plenty of people sit home after school and watch YouTube. I know I do that. But yeah, I think that that's kind of helping out the hobby a little bit as well. Yeah, do you guys have anything else to add? No,
Can't
Really.
really think of anything.
no.
Yeah. If you're talking about anything on the social media thing, just check everyone out. It doesn't have to. They don't have to be a big channel to be doing things you like. I'm like I have around 1,600 subscribers. George, you have over 2,000. But there could be a guy with only 50, and he has content or a train that you like more than everything in my collection or George's collection. It's just check everyone out and support them, because the more we build the community, the more fun we will have.
Yeah, yeah, and my grandpa has a great question. Said, Sid, how did you get into working on the electronics of trains?
It kind of started when some of my stuff just stopped working or it wasn't working correctly, and I didn't want to send it to line out because that's just a lot of work and a lot of money. And I was younger, so I didn't have as much money. So I decided to tinker. I opened the trains up. I saw how things worked. I asked a lot of questions, even to this day. You're not going to learn if you don't ask questions. And I just learned from the best in the industry of working on model trains. And I just progressed through things. I think one of the first repairs I ever did was on a smoke unit. Smoke unit on, I think one of my Hudsons wasn't working, so I replaced the element and redid some of the batting, and got good at soldering. That was like a big thing, getting good with soldering things, and from there it just progressed to light bulbs, replacing boards, to upgrading, and then now doing what I consider the ultimate legacy upgrades, where I can take a train that might be a decade old or two and give it the latest technology that Lionel has to offer. And that's kind of how I got into it. I started really simple. I wasn't working on modern stuff. I was working on old stuff, post-war stuff. If you can work on that, then you can work your way up in the scheme of things, working on more complicated electronics. And I learned the hard way, so to speak, in some cases where maybe I blew up something myself, a board, fried something, or broke something. But there was always a fix. You just might have to pay a little money. And that's just how I learned. And like I said, if any of you, I was kind of going to go on to something. If you're into maybe trying to work on things, ask questions before doing it. I think you'd rather wait a couple hours to get a response back than do it immediately, break something, and have to spend a couple $100s to fix something. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. Just tinkering, understanding it, and just progressing through the different things with the mechanics and electronics of these trains.
Yeah, I think. Oh Lord. Do you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. How's the?
I think it's good.
All right. Anyways, yeah, I think that you're right about that, because I know that one thing that's cool about those legacy upgrades that you're doing is you're taking engines that might not have been released in the legacy form, or that haven't been released with the legacy control system, and you're converting them to legacy. For example, I know you did that with Steve Coferold and RJ's Trains 4501s, correct?
That was just TMCC, but I might do that to my own. Yeah, just going with that. And a train that I actually they never made with going on the TMCC. I'll just say yes. I've done TMCC upgrades. It allows you to have modern electronics in trains that never had them or just deserve them. Some trains that I've installed legacy in are an SD40. It didn't have it, so I added it. Lionel's done SD40s with legacy, but it was just my take on it. I'm doing a 2880 articulated right now. I'm putting legacy in that they've never had legacy in a 2880.
Is that the Great Northern one?
Yes, the Great Northern. The designation is an N3. That's that, and I'm doing my own Commodore Vanderbilt. Lionel hasn't produced that train in over like 25 years or something like that, and I'm doing that to it. And yeah, it's just I'm I'm taking these trains to the next level, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think that's the other cool part about those upgrades that you're doing is, you're taking trains that either don't have TMCC or legacy, and you're bringing them to their true potential per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know you've done a lot of those over the time that you've been fixing trains. Is there any like really cool ones that you've seen, or like one of a kind pieces?
Probably the most one of a kind of piece that I've worked on was a third rail Z5 Challenger.
Oh yeah.
It's a massive engine. I had it next to my big boy, and it was just about as big. Has a lot of details because it's third rail. Northern Pacific's kind of unique, and yeah, that was probably the most unique or kind of obscure one I've worked on. The amount of detail, that was probably the most detailed engine I've ever seen, which is really, really cool. I see a question there. Sid, can you put Legacy in an MTH Climax? I have an MTH Climax with me that is kind of mine. It's been sitting here for about a year or two now. It was a guy that kind of just gave it to me, so to speak. But I would say the answer is yes. Whether it's easy and whether it's cost effective, that I can't really tell you that without looking at the one I have. Something that would probably be a little more, little easier is to do TMCC in one. But yeah, the possibilities are endless. It's just whether you're willing to pay the money and be patient. Sometimes these things can take months. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but in the end, it's all worth it, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, so I personally do not know what a climax is. Can you kind of abbreviate on that?
Why don't you just go grab it?
Okay, I'll grab the climax. It's kind of in pieces, but I'll grab it.
Uh-oh. All right, wait. So why is getting that, Tim? How have you been?
Oh,
I think you were on Cross Anchor Stream, weren't you? Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you been since then? Anything new other than the Christmas presents?
Nope. Nothing new.
I see. Can't wait to go back to those modular events. Those are the highlight of my year.
Well, I'm hoping we can do that next year.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully. But, yeah. Oh!
It's kind of, the shells are both off, so I'm kind of trying to hold it as best as possible to show you. This is a Climax. It's a logging type engine, so it looks very weird. Similar to a Shea, it has a lot of gearing, and as you see the piston on the side where my finger is, it's kind of at an angle, and it drives this rod that goes into some gear that drives the shaft. Right here is the shaft. And it's a really cool looking engine. They sound cool, especially the MTH ones, but it's possible I could install legacy electronics in this. It's such a obscure and small engine. It just might take a little more finessing than, I say, the average upgrade I would do. But yeah, that's what a Climax is. It's one of the logging engines. There's a Shea, a Climax, and a Heisler, and those are really cool engines to work on and see in person.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. I think that's actually a really, really cool engine. But yeah, Sid, I got another question. Can you put Legacy in a Scout?
I've been asked this question a couple times. Yes, that is possible. I know the footprint of those trains, and
isn't it like a gear and then some drivers and then like a can motor? Or not a can motor, but
those engines are so simplistic. it's possible. I would just get the tender and get rid of the air whistle and put all the sounds and the boards in there. That would be really cool. I saw something before. I thought it was a question for me, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, it's possible. Like I was saying, anything is possible. It just takes time, or it just takes I guess my own creativity, or me talking with my fellow I'd say train people that work on trains to come up with ideas to get things to work.
Yeah, that's gotta be interesting. Honestly, I'd like to see that just because it's like one of those things where it's like nobody's ever done that because it's got such a crappy train where you wouldn't really think to do that. How long do you think that would last? Because I mean, of course, if you got Legacy in the Scout, you're gonna want to run it. How long do you think a Legacy Scout would last if you're running, like on a regular basis?
I think it could last a while. I think the first thing that would go out is the motor. The motors and those are cheap, and I don't think they would work super well with the legacy electronics, and I'd almost be afraid to run it because those things can derail, and if you derail, they could fry things. Those, at least my Scout engine, the front truck is just, they're not very they don't have a lot of spring to them, so they just like to pop off. But yeah, it's possible, and it probably could last for a while if you don't have like a million switches on your layout and just have loops.
Yeah, dang, that would actually be kind of cool. Those motors are actually kind of small, aren't they? Aren't they like RC car motors?
Yeah, they're like really small. Like, I don't know. Sometimes they're like the length of this little cupola on this caboose here, or even smaller. It just varies. The Lionel ones, I think, are really small. Yeah.
Yes, I think, and this is somebody wrote in the chat. I love the Lionel NNW 1218. I wish they could bring it back. Me too. Hopefully, since MTH did go kaput, we'll see something in the near future from Lionel. Let me see. Ours is on the layout currently. Let me get that.
Yeah, just on that topic, I think Tim's going to say what I was going to say, but
everybody, get ready for the ear rape.
that tooling is gone. Lionel doesn't have that tooling anymore because of some legal issues, but hopefully they can either get it back or create a new tooling for them to make that train.
Create a new tooling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that engine's got to be one of the most underrated excursion stars. You know, I wish that was still running, but yeah, it's a really cool engine. I know they did the Line Master one. That's kind of cool. I saw some videos on that on YouTube. But yeah, hopefully maybe we'll see a scale. You can hear the ear rape. Oh, and it just came off the track. Dang it. All right. Keep talking. I'm going to go fix this.
That's a very iconic
whistle? Dude, the whistle's my favorite part.
That whistle's very iconic. Not just because it's on that engine, but that whistle was used on a lot of TMCC-equipped engines from various manufacturers. Yeah, that's a really cool train. I want to get one day and probably upgrade it in some way. I don't know yet what I would want to do, but yeah, that's a really cool train.
All right, let's see if I can get it now. This big boy is making some. I'm gonna stop that real quick because it was making some interesting noises. I think it's just been running for a while now. All right. Oh, don't have the track on. Wait. Oh. Oh. Of course it hit something. yeah, here is our TMCC Class A. And actually, fun fact, this is actually the very first TMCC locomotive my dad had ever got, or my dad and grandpa had ever gotten. I'm not sure. Can you guys see it in the frame?
We can see it.
All right, but yeah, this is kind of what started it all for my dad on TMCC. And funny story, when he first got the engine, he actually thought it was broken because he had hooked up the TMCC to the layout, and he was trying to make it go, and it wouldn't go because he thought that you could just run it conventionally. So he was kind of like trying to make it go back and forth with the ZW, and I think he realized that he had to do it on the remote, and probably blew his mind grips. Because I know that this is probably another one of my favorite parts of the O scale is being able to run multiple trains at the same time. Yeah, I think this is kind of what started it all for us. And asked Tim at Train Fest. Oh boy, this is the I would run this behind Tim's. Tim has a friend who had this big long coal train, right? And he'd bring that to Train Fest every year. And when Tim would run this coal train, that would mean I would be able to run behind Tim with this. And then we have a set of MTH passenger cars. And so that the Dash 9 that's behind the big boy right now, I'd put that behind the 1218. I'd put those passenger cars behind that, and I would run that. And for those of you who don't know, this engine is a speed demon. It's got 2 speeds, stop and
On or off?
Yeah, on off, yeah. And it goes really, really fast. So and actually I think it was in one of the videos that we did I think 2 months ago. There's a video of I put a GoPro on the front of this engine. I was running it around the layout, and there's a part where I come up to the caboose of Tim's train, and yeah, you can hear me yelling at Tim to go faster. But yeah, it was me catching up to his train.
Slower.
Yeah, me catching up to his train and then stopping and waiting for it to catch up to the back of my train, and then I'd get it to go, and that would last for about like 10 seconds, and then I'd be back at the caboose of his train. So yeah, it's a pretty cool engine, but it's got 2 speeds. It's pretty.
That's how all the early, technically the first 4 early TMCC locomotives from that early 2000 and 1999 era.
Yeah, this is, as many people will say now, because of 4014. This train I'm about to show might seem a little talked about a lot, but I actually think mine. George has this as well. This is a fairly unique engine because it's just not 4014 for once. This is my 4006. George has one just like this. This was the first scale articulated from Lionel in the same catalog as the Allegheny they made, but this one was the first to release. And there's lots of mixed reviews about this engine, but I love it because it was my first big articulated. It got me started in some of the larger scale items, but yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, Sid. Like you, that was my very first articulated locomotive that I own, which is really cool. And Steve gave me that one, which is another generous thing. I got that for my birthday this year. Yeah, that engine is just breathtaking. I brought it to my grandpa's land. I noticed how much bigger it is compared to the JLC Big Boy. And even like the boiler seems so much larger.
That's because it's not a Lionel tooling. It's an MTH tooling technically, but because Lionel stole it from them. But that's a long story. But yeah, it is a really beefy engine. I love it just because of that. I take the less detail, and I take the beefiness of it over the JLC one. I still love the JLC. The JLC, I think, is in my opinion, the best big boy ever produced in O scale. But I still love my 4006.
Oh yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. But yeah, and I like to call the 1218 and that the first gen big boy the bad boys because those are the guys that caused the lawsuit for the between MTH and Lionel. And here's the JLC
Yeah.
big boy I got going. But yeah, there it is. But yeah, I like to call those the bad boys due to them being being the cause of that big old lawsuit that happened back in the day.
Yep.
But yeah, I think they're both really iconic engines. I know that 1218. I love the whistle, although it's pretty popular. I love the whistle on that, just because that's all I ever ran, so that's all I ever heard. You know. But yeah. Oh yeah, another thing is too. 4006 has so much more. Like the overhang on that engine is huge, and I was running it at my grandpa's house, and hopefully he's not watching right now. But it would swing out, and we put a big old like scrape in the styrofoam where his mountain was, and yeah, it was. It's crazy how much more it overhangs compared to the JLC big boy, the Vision line. But yeah, I certainly do love that engine, and I think it's probably one of the best.
It's something.
It's
I was just gonna say something that I've done to mine is if you see this drawbar isn't sticking out past the cab, and these early engines had a big gap between the cab and the tender, and I shortened that gap by shortening the drawbar. But yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah, but no, I have to agree with you. It's a really really cool engine. I love. Actually, the other cool part about it too was it was the first big boy I ever owned, and actually in real life, the 4006 was the first big boy I actually ever saw. Which was really really cool. I for a long time the big boy was something I had been dying to see in person, and when I was about 9 years old, we went to St. Louis for the National the Train Collectors Association. They had a convention up there. I think I was about 9 or 10, and we went to the National Museum of Transportation out in St. Louis, Missouri, and I got to see the 4006 in person, and that probably was one of the coolest things. Seeing that big boy, it's crazy, you know. It's big on the model railroad, but man, holy moly, is that big in real life. I think that seeing that for the first time was huge, like breathtaking. Although they did kind of like, I guess. For that, they kind of made it like underrated it a little bit because they put a bunch of other big engines around it, so it didn't really look too like big per se. But like going back, I think probably we went back this year actually. Seeing that engine was just like holy moly, that is a big engine. I think, but yeah, other than that, that was the first big boy I ever saw, and. Going around I've seen a couple of big boys. I think I've seen 4 big boys, and each one of them is just special. There's something special about those engines. But yes. Other than that, guys, I think it's about. I mean, I'm starting to get a little bit tired, but yeah. Thank you guys for coming on. I had a great time talking to you guys. Hopefully, maybe we'll do this sometime again. I enjoyed doing this. It was cool to actually follow through on this one this time instead of like cutting it off right then. I'm sorry about last time, Sid. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do this again. Thank you guys for watching, or thank you guys for coming on. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you around the roundhouse. Adios.